Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Bush plans $1.5 billion drive for promotion of marriage. What? And he's got the rundown.
Sam, we gave Brian Krolicki a hard time for not showing up on the show. Now the state treasurer shows up today. Does he show us up? And is he going to run for the U.S. Senate? We'll find out. And then we talked to Senator Mark Amodei. Is there a split in the Republican Senate caucus? Sam?
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Daryl, Capurro, Ray Bacon, and Bilyeu. It's all coming up next on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
The Amodei family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Catch a straight, dine at 8, lucky you. Lucky you. Dance till 1, have some fun, lucky you. Lucky you. Taste the shrimp, have a sip, try the pool, play it cool. At the Sienna Hotel Spa Casino, lucky you.
In business, the key to success is not the quantity of your clients, it's the quality of your clients. Almost all companies will tell you they want more sales, but what they really need are quality customers who pay their bills on time. With Employer Link's client vendor screening program, we provide comprehensive reports regarding the financial performance of your corporate prospects, customers, and vendors. Build your business with great clients and vendors. Call Employer Links today at 883-3733.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years. Call 882-1700 to see what we can do for your organization.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Ande Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
And welcome back to Nevada Newsmakers. We're joined today by State Treasurer Brian Krolicki, who's ending up a year here as president of the National Association of State Treasurers. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian. Thank you. I understand now you have some family things that make it difficult for you to be here in the mornings. We appreciate you finally being here. We have to start with the U.S. Senate race. I understand that you
do the softball first. Good.
I understand that you've raised $130,000 is what the rumor is towards that, but you actually have not collected that money, right?
No, we actually have. You know, part of the due diligence in looking at things like this is testing the waters, so to speak, and fundraising is just one aspect of that. And we had set a goal to raise 6 figures to pay for some polling and some other things, and we accomplished that. So on the middle of this month, when we report to the Federal Election Committee, you know, we'll show that we've raised that kind of money.
And have you done any polling yet to show what your chances would be against Harry Reid?
We've done polling that asks all the right questions, and you hope to get the right answers, and we'll share that at the right time.
Which means he's not going to tell us anything now, but are you running?
I will make an announcement, I hope, at the very beginning of February. I mean, I need to be in or out, and that's fair to other people who might want to do it if I don't. But again, this process is culminating. I'll be in Washington, D.C., meeting with the appropriate parties in the next week or two, and after all of these different pieces are put together, we'll make an informed decision.
Okay, Senator Harry Reid is the deputy minority leader, could possibly end up being the minority leader if Tom Daschle were to lose his re-election campaign. What do you have?
Democrat leadership could lose their races?
That is a distinct possibility in Tom Daschle's home state. But as you talk to the public here, you know, what are you saying that puts you in a position where you would be a better candidate for that position than the current senator?
You know, I look at it in a more global view. I'm a Republican. I support much of what this president's trying to do. I think President Bush has been tremendous in terms of fighting global terrorism, with the economy, the tax cuts. I think those are important. And with all due respect to Senator Reid, his job as the opposition leadership is to prevent this president agenda from going forward. And I would just look at it very differently. I would be there to not, you know, blindly, but very studiously supporting much of the agenda because I believe in it.
Okay, but what about the needs of the Silver State? Senator Reid says, if you want to know what I've done, just look at the appropriations.
There are different ways to look at it. Whether, you know, we have 5 delegation members in Washington, D.C. They all carry a huge load because we do have such a small delegation. You know, whether it's Harry Reid or Brian Krolicki, gaming, mining, water, Yucca Mountain, all of those issues are nonpartisan to us. We have certain beliefs from Nevada's perspective, and we will pursue that agenda. He's senior, he's leadership, so his abilities in the minority, you know, he can do what he can do. But I would suspect that being in the majority party, which I anticipate that being in November with a re-elected President Bush, you know, Nevada wouldn't lose a big step if you have 2 in the majority supporting this president fighting for Nevada.
Okay, but on your global position, I take it you do disagree with President Bush about Yucca Mountain.
Absolutely.
All right, I just got to say that we have not seen John Ensign able to accomplish the things in the Senate regarding Yucca that he had hoped to when he was running for office, that he said he would because he would be in the majority. And the reality is a freshman senator is limited in what they're able to do back in Congress. But I want to change the subject for a minute if I could, okay?
Please.
Yesterday at the Board of Examiners meeting, they discussed a lease purchase idea having to do with the state building. Now, this is something that was on the ballot to the voters 2 years ago. The voters turned down doing lease purchase. The Supreme Court once again threw out a vote of the public and said, no, the state can move forward. You did a presentation to the Board of Examiners, which is Brian Sandoval, the Attorney General, the Governor, and Dean Heller, the Secretary of State. And they, 2 of the 3, Dean Heller voted against it, went with this. Now, the ultimate goal in this is going to benefit a company called the Nevada
Real Property Corporation.
Right, right. And this is a company, of which you are the resident agent, the president, the secretary, and the treasurer.
Correct. Couple things. This was a ballot question over a decade ago, so it's not something that
just 2 years ago?
Correct. The Supreme Court ruled 2 years ago. As state treasurer or as any constitutional officer, you have different roles that you play. And if you look in my annual report, you'll see that, you know, sitting on the State Board of Finance, the State Executive Audit Committee, there are 2 other items. One is the Nevada Real Property Corporation, and one is the Nevada Master Lease Corporation. These companies act as conduits. So to enter into a lease purchase or any kind of contract like that, you must have a separate entity. So we will be accessing the marketplace. You know, we have to raise the money for it, and you sell something called certificates of participation. I know that's boring, but it's technically very important in this, where the state is leasing from, you know, this entity. The state can't lease something from itself, so you have to create a different entity to lease back to the state. That's how a lease purchase works. But the bottom.
Is this why the public voted against it?
Well, I don't think so. I think the public, and I'm glad to have this opportunity. The bottom line is the state spends almost $20 million a year paying rent for state employees today around the state. That's an extraordinary amount of money. It's rent. Wouldn't you, I hope, own a home rather than rent? I mean, it's an American dream to own something. So the taxpayers in this case, instead of having $15 to $20 million spent a year just in rent, they can actually put it towards owning a building without spending one more dime. So the situation yesterday for the lease purchase, it's a $20 million proposed state building. What we would do is use the exact amount of money that's used to pay rent for these state employees to be put into equity, to be paying a mortgage, if you will. And at the end of the time, the state will own that building, and it's also 30,000 square feet larger than the existing space that they have. And if you just put the amount of cash that's paid out over time in rent versus the amount of cash that's paid out for the certificate of participation, it costs less to own. So I think the taxpayers are very supportive of anything we can do to be good stewards of their money.
Okay, Nevada Real Property Corporation, are you saying this is a shell company, just a front for the state?
Exactly. I mean, shell's probably not the right word. It's a conduit, not-for-profit
so
entity
it's not something that's going to
that
profit.
I, as state treasurer, am the officer of.
Okay.
You can't have an ex officio person as a corporate officer.
May I just clear this up? Just bottom line is, this is not something that you privately are going to be making money from.
Absolutely not.
And that's where we got to leave it.
Will any investors make any money from it?
The people who buy the certificates of participation. So again, we're raising $20 million to pay for this building. The owners will be the people who buy these certificates, and they will be paid off over time. So they make an investment, and their investment is tax exempt, and we expect to be about 4 3/4. But this corporation, no money ever touches it. It goes all to a trustee and to the bond holder.
We're good? Okay. All right, we're good.
So if we need to softballs, what else can we do this morning?
We'll be right back. Come back and see us again, will you? We appreciate it.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, voted Reno's best buffet by locals year after year. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch. Atlantis.
Would you like to savor a Trento pork chop? Or maybe pasta rags with grilled chicken? Hugo's Tuscan Grill at D'Andrea is a celebration of color, flavor, and freshness. Each dish is created from natural, wholesome foods that is delicious and nutritious. Hugo's is a comfortable restaurant with breathtaking city views. If you enjoy great food and good company, visit us here at Hugo's. It's the best that dining can be. 2900 South D'Andrea Parkway in Sparks.
I ordered this beef broccoli here at Harris Buffet in Reno, and it was here in less than 60 seconds. What's up with that, Dave?
Sam, that's one of 20 dishes that we guarantee fast, guarantee fresh, made to order 7 days a week at Harris Reno's Buffet.
And I understand that just for this month, a 2-for-1 special just by showing your Nevada ID.
That's correct. We want to invite all of our Nevada residents to come down and experience this great buffet. We guarantee you a fresh, quality meal.
It's fast, it's delicious, and it's 2-for-1 at Harris Buffet.
To experience the royal cuisine of India, you need some serious magic or simply transport yourself to India Garden, right here in Reno, where you'll discover Indian specialties refined over centuries. Sikh kebab, tandoori dishes cooked in our own tandoor oven, biryani specialties, curries, fresh-baked Indian bread, over a dozen vegetarian dishes, even dishes rare to India like dosa, South Indian-style crepes. India Garden off South Virginia near Sports West. We are India.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by State Senator Mark Amodei, and he has some questions for him.
Oh, as always. Thank you for being here, Mark. We've been hearing rumors, and not from you, but from other people, that there is presently a split in the Republican Senate caucus. Can you speak to that? You are a senator, you're a member of the Republican Senate caucus.
Well, last time I checked, I was still a member, so yeah. You know, I think the source of that, in my experience, the source of that is not necessarily from within the caucus membership. I think probably most of the information coming from that, at least in my experience, has been from people who aren't in the caucus, but maybe from people who are unhappy with the fact that the caucus is functioning as a caucus as opposed to being told how to function by people who are not members of it.
Lobbyists?
Yep.
I'm hearing some concerns about Senator Raggio holding both the chairmanship of Senate Finance while being majority leader. Your silence is always so eloquent.
When this gets replayed on KOH on Sunday morning, the silence will be appreciated.
Right. For those of you who are only listening, he's a bright red.
You said something about a face made for radio, so.
Okay, well, I guess, you know, are we looking here basically at the transition in the caucus and in the party as certain members, you know, who have been around a long time are being jockeyed by people who are up and coming? I mean, is that the situation here?
You know, I guess my view of it is the caucus functions by the way the members vote. And regardless of whether Bill continues in both capacities or not, the real operations and how things get done or don't get done, and the latest example is the tax packages, where did the caucus vote? So there's this focus on a lot of personal stuff by outside people, and it's like, listen, the bottom line for the people of the state of Nevada is, how are the people in that caucus going to vote for the benefit or to the detriment of what we think is sound public policy in the state? When you look at the big fights last time, that caucus, 10 out of 13 members voted for the budget. I would submit to you that's not a split. I think 10 out of 13 voted for the tax bill. But you hear all this satellite stuff about there's a split and blah, blah, blah. It's like, listen, Bill Raggio had 9 other members of his caucus voting with him on those 2 issues. In my book, that's not a split.
No, it certainly wouldn't sound like that to me either.
I want to change the subject, if we could, to the Board of Regents. There's a story in the Las Vegas Review-Journal this morning about how the Board of Regents, even though there's a state law that says to create residency in this state, to go to college it takes 6 months, the Board of Regents instituted their own law or policy that you must be here a year. And what they're saying is that because they're a separate governmental entity, it's a violation of separation of powers for you guys to pass these laws. You've got a bill addressing the Board of Regents.
Right.
Is some of this going to get cleared up, do you think?
We hope so. You know, and certainly the board's entitled to whatever view they think's appropriate in terms of where they fit in the constitutional scheme of things. But I can assure you that where they fit in the constitutional scheme of things is being very thoroughly reviewed at this point in time, and what the options are for some sort of responsible operation going forward of higher education in the state. You know, it's interesting, you talk about higher education on the board. It's so important for this state that over the last, I think it's 10 years, funding for higher education in the state, in Nevada, for higher education has increased 148%. Now that's the legislature. And after you invest that kind of money in higher education, whether you're the legislature or a taxpayer or anybody, I think you want the best possible return and confidence in that investment. And unfortunately right now, we're going through a time when there's some concerns about how we operate in the higher education level. So it'll be discussed, input from everybody, and we'll see where we come out the other side. But I think there's no doubt that the time has probably come to take a pretty strong look after that kind of funding commitment to how we operate.
So you mean that the legislature might act as a ringmaster over the circus?
That's never happened before in my knowledge on any issue, Sam.
Would you stick around and join us on the pundit panel?
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Before you head to Carson, take care of yourself with a visit to Tamarack Junction. Catch a hot cup of coffee and the morning news on one of our 32 TVs and enjoy the best food in South Reno. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amodei Ranch Parkway.
The Abowed family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Your home is an expression of all things comforting and familiar. For custom storage, you can count on California Closets to provide quality, value, and design integrity. The process is easy, combining your personal style with our organizing expertise. We care about what matters most to you, making your home functional and beautiful. California Closets, simplifying home and life since 1978. Call today for your complimentary design consultation.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Make your daily commute easy with breakfast or lunch at the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy daily specials, super fast service, and South Reno's freshest morning meals. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amodei Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
We're already cutting up here on the pundit panel. Daryl Capurro from the Truckers Association, thank you for being here. Ray Bacon with the Manufacturers Association. Bilyeu, attorney, and another attorney also, but state senator, Mark Amodei. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's start with Brian Krolicki real quick, and we have to make all this real fast. And Daryl, I'm going to start with you. Will he run for the United States Senate, and if so, will he beat Harry Reid?
Well, to the first question, yes, I think he's going to run for the Senate, and quite frankly, I don't see other major candidates that have been mentioned running at the same time. Can he beat Harry? Harry's always had close races, no matter who the candidate is, so I would expect this one would be close. I can't predict whether he'll win.
I agree.
I agree. Agree.
Well, okay, that's
what you said. Become a spokesman for the group.
Okay, we'll go the other way with this. Mark, do you think that there's a problem with this whole business of this Nevada Real Property Corporation and this lease purchase thing, which again the public voted against, but the court in its wisdom overturned?
Well, I think what the state's trying to get at is a different way of funding capital improvements, which I think is a positive thing. The details of how you do it to make sure that you keep faith with the public maybe need a little bit more work, maybe they don't. I haven't monitored that lately, the issue, but I know generally, especially in northern Nevada and in Carson City, the issue of how we continue to expand the Capitol complex to meet the needs of the state, this is a key part of that, and it's something that I hope continues forward.
Yeah, one of the problems I have, of course, is that when you're talking about the acquisition of state buildings, whatever mechanism you use, they are basically taking property off the tax rolls. That bothers me.
That bothered you too, Ray, right?
Yeah, that bothered me a little bit. I guess the only other question is, I would assume that this building would probably then not have the oversight of the Public Works Board. Now, while I'm no great fan of the Public Works Board as being the greatest entity in the world, there is some reason that process was put in place, and I think by doing a lease purchase it will not be under that purview, I suspect. But I don't know for sure.
Daryl?
As a free marketer, I agree with both Ray and Bill that that takes property off the tax rolls, and so that impacts the area in which they're building. If it's Carson City, it impacts their real property tax rolls. But on the other hand, there are good reasons for doing it too.
And at the end of this lease purchase period, the state winds up with a building whose useful life is probably questionable, and all along it's probably had the maintenance problems.
Very quickly, Ray, if you could fill us in. There's $26 million of Nevada money sitting back in the federal treasury that's supposed to be used for education while we're all paying higher taxes to pay for education. Why isn't this $26 million being used?
Well, and at this stage of the game, just to put this in perspective, there was money allocated to every single state. That gets drawn down as the state comes up with justification for how they're using the money and all that stuff. It's my understanding that, and this is not factually based at this stage of the game, but my limited understanding is our process for some reason is more complicated than other states. We're about 0.7% of the population. We're 8% of the money that has not been drawn down, which means somehow we're out of sync with the rest of them because they figured out how to get the money, and we haven't done that very well yet. But in about rough numbers, about $21 million of that directly relates to No Child Left Behind. The $5 million is other education programs. Now, Keith Rowe told me that there are some of the federal monies that just really don't apply to our situation in Nevada, but that's a relatively small chunk of the piece. So.
Okay. Senator, is this going to be, you're going to have trouble telling your constituents you need to raise taxes for anything when we've got money sitting in D.C. that we don't use and after this last session and so forth?
Well, if that turns out to be factual, yeah, that's a problem. I mean, a big chunk of the $838 million in new taxes that we passed was for K-12, $360-ish million. And so I think it's reasonable for people to want to know that we're doing things in the most efficient way possible and accessing funding from other sources besides just our own tax rolls to the maximum extent possible.
Now, remember, Andy, this is not that we haven't, that we're not going to get the money, just that we haven't
asked
yet.
for it.
We haven't yet. Okay, and somehow.
How long will it stay there?
Well, there's about a 3-year window on drawing down that money. So there's money that we still haven't drawn from 2000, money from 2001, money from 2002, and then 2003 money. Some of the 2000 money is going to go away if we don't get on the stick and get that done.
Okay, I have to get to Sam's issue or he'll have a hissy fit over this. Bush's plans $1.5 billion drive for promotion of marriage. Gentlemen, jump in here. What do you think about this?
Well, Mr. Bilyeu's wife and I were having a discussion ahead of time since we've both been married a long time, and we think there should be some sort of a tax credit for those of us that have been married, stayed married, and have kids in wedlock.
Exactly. Yeah.
Senator.
Kids in wet. I'm in favor of marriage.
Are you in favor of spending tax dollars to promote it?
It would nice to no.
Okay, we're out of time. On that note, we'll have to go. We'll be right back.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
I ordered this beef broccoli here at Harris Buffet in Reno, and it was here in less than 60 seconds. What's up with that, Dave?
Sam, that's one of 20 dishes that we guarantee fast, guarantee fresh, made to order 7 days a week at Harris Reno's Buffet.
And I understand that just for this month, a 2-for-1 special just by showing your Nevada ID.
That's correct. We want to invite all of our Nevada residents to come down and experience this great buffet. We guarantee you a fresh, quality meal.
It's fast, it's delicious, and it's 2-for-1 at Harris Buffet.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, voted Reno's best buffet by locals year after year. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch. Atlantis.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
I will be continuing my hissy fit tomorrow on this subject about this $1.5 billion to promote marriage. Give me a break.
Okay, and next Tuesday night we're going to have a very special show following the State of the Union by the President. Channel 4 will have an analysis, an in-depth look here with Sam and me. We'll see you.